What is money? People couldn't agree upon exactly what the unit of exchange would be. Should I give you 2 goats for 1 cow? Should I give you a bushel of hay for a bushel of corn? So there had to be some kind of a standardized way for people to exchange value, an agreed upon currency, if you will, hence the development of money. My name is Tim Gandy. I'm a financial advisor. I'm a financial planning specialist. I've been in the securities industry for almost 15 years now with a major Wall Street firm. I enjoy what I do. My favorite part of what I do is when I create a plan for someone and it comes to fruition, when I make a difference in someone's life because of the planning that we've done. The biggest tip I could give any young person trying to prepare for their financial life or their life in general is to not spend it all. Put aside as little as 1/10 of everything you earn. Little book, I've talked about it before. People get tired of hearing me talk about it. George Clason, The Richest Man in Babylon. You save that 1/10, and if you set that aside and you're consistent about it and you're rigorous about it. It doesn't have to be rigorous, you just have to be disciplined about it. And that ninth grader, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, doesn't matter. If they save that 10% from the time they get started as a young teen until they're 30 and just maintain that 10% savings rate and stop and never put another dime with it, they'll have more money than an individual who started at 30 and saved until they retired. It's a wonderful thing. It's called the magic of compound interest. You have to save something. And ideally, you want to save more than 10%, but let's just take 10% as a baseline. So for every dollar you earn, set 10 cents aside. For every $10 you earn, set $1 aside. And you keep that going, and you always take advantage of any savings vehicle or retirement vehicle that the government gives you to save money tax-free, but that's another topic altogether because it's always better to save tax-free as opposed to paying taxes along the way because you make more money that way. You keep more of what you earn, which is the goal. Checking, savings, what to do. First thing you want to do is set aside that 10%. That is your money. And that is your money for well into the future. That's the money that you set aside and you just forget it even exists. It's, for all intents and purposes, gone. So now you've got 90 cents on the dollar that you're going to deal with. Obviously, you have some overhead unless you live with mom and dad. Mom and dad are covering everything, in which case that 90 cents on the dollar belongs to you. Now, should you blow all 90 of those pennies that you've earned on the dollar? Your call. As a teenager, it's hard to dissuade them from doing so. However, if you want to have money next Friday night and the Friday night after that, or for that iPod that mom and dad won't pick up, or for that car that mom and dad or mom or dad say I'll meet you halfway on, or that auto insurance that they want them to meet you halfway on, or you to meet them halfway on, or that article of clothing, you get the idea. First of all, let's start off with a savings account, a basic savings account. You can set one of these up at a bank, credit union, savings. Oh, we don't have savings and loan here, but mostly banks and saving and credit unions. You go in, you say I'd like an interest-bearing savings account. What does that mean? They're going to pay you interest on your money. What does that mean? They're going to give you so many cents per dollar on an annual basis for every dollar that you deposit with this bank. It's a win-win situation. The bank turns around and loans out your money at a higher interest rate, and they give you interest on that money. That's why banks pay you interest on your money, because they know they can turn around and make more money on your money than what they're paying you to keep it in-house. Checking account. That's where you decide, I don't want to carry around all this money. I've got something I want to pay for. I want, again, a unit of exchange that's universally acceptable, yet I don't want to carry a wad of bills around. So I'm going to write out this more or less an IOU issued by my bank in my name, and I'm going to write in here to whom the IOU is written, the dollar amount, the date, and I'm going to hand that to you or to the merchant or whomever I'm purchasing some good or service from. Checking account. Some checking accounts pay interest, some don't. Ideally, you want a checking account that is interest bearing. The basic way to put money in a bank is a savings account. After that is your checking account. A lot of banks now are competing for your business in such a way that they're offering free checking, free savings. What that means is banks have a high overhead these days. It's just the cost of doing business. So when your account is below a certain amount of money on deposit, they want to charge you for maintaining the account. Unless, there's always an unless, there's always a loophole that you can crawl through or jump through, or some flaming hoop they want you to jump through. You have what they call direct deposit, meaning your money goes directly from your employer in your name to your checking or savings account in your name. It's all electronic. It's a wonderful thing. You never have to worry about, I've got to get this check to the bank. Or, oh my goodness, I didn't make it to the bank in time to deposit this check. Now I can't write my check to pay whatever the case may be. Or now I can't hit the ATM to get cash for tonight, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot of ways to tie checking and savings accounts together. Oftentimes what they'll do is they'll have what they call overdraft protection, meaning if you write a check and the check you've written is a greater amount than what you currently have in your checking account, they'll automatically sweep money or pull money from your savings account into your checking account to cover that check. The key is to always have money in your savings account for the sweep to occur. But that's another topic altogether. I guess a lot of it depends on the individual working the job and the circumstances behind the individual. So take a young person who may or may not be the breadwinner for their family because mom or dad or mom and dad can't or won't work. That money is the lifeblood of their existence. So savings might take a back seat, meaning I still insist that they put that 10% aside. I still insist on that. Put that 10% aside, spend that 90, maintain the household, do what you got to do. If, on the other hand, that 90 cents is discretionary income, at this point it's not about the money. At this point it's about work experience, it's about responsibility, it's about learning how to be in the workforce, it's about learning about that four-letter word that everyone hates when they get their first job called FICA. And everyone wants to know, who's FICA? And why did they take so much of my check? I know I did. And I was mad. I got my check. I said, I should have had X amount. But my check was actually X minus this amount after FICA and the union and the state and everyone else had their way with my check. I felt like I owed them money. It was not a fun time, but it's a reality check. And like Bill Gates said in his address to Harvard, life ain't fair. Life doesn't owe you anything. No one owes you anything. You're not going to come out of high school or college and walk into a $100,000 job with zero experience. That's what these jobs are for. They teach you that. It's a humbling experience, and it's a growth opportunity all at once. So yes, you can put that money aside unless the aforementioned conditions are in place, meaning you're the breadwinner and you've got to spend it all on diapers or the rent or the phone bill.